The new Economic Thinking Conference in Bretton Woods is in full swing today, where some of the biggest names in the field have gathered to give their prescription for the ailing global economy. Bloomberg's Sara Eisen has been talking with economists all day and joins us now with Harvard professor Ken Rogoff. Sara?
Matt and Carol, Ken Rogoff is also the co-author of the book. This time is different, looking at the history of sovereign debt defaults. Very timely topic here. We were just speaking with George Soros. He says the U.S. doesn't have a fiscal crisis. In fact, we can take on even more debt right now. Do you agree?
No, I'm afraid I don't agree. I mean, maybe we can take on more debt, but we're on an unsustainable fiscal trajectory, and we need to do something to right its course. It's not something that's going to unfold in a year or two, but 10 or 15 years, and it's like saving up for college. If you wait till the last minute, it's not easy.
But he says now is not the time to do it. We need to focus on stimulating the economy because it's not an urgent, imminent threat.
Look, now's not the time to have a government shutdown. I mean, this is just not the adult way to approach the problem. But certainly putting big issues on the table. I think the Bowles-Simpson report of, how to try to lower marginal rates, get rid of tax expenditures, looked at a lot of the problems. I think that was a big step forward. But, this gamesmanship, this stuff, this is ridiculous that we're saying.
While we're on the subject of confidence in the United States and the U.S. economy, the dollar is set to be a hot topic here at Bretton Woods this weekend. Of course, a historical place for the global exchange rate system. Has the dollar lost any of its safe haven appeal from global investors?
Well, I mean, I think there's no doubt people have been uneasy about quantitative easing. I mean, there's no other way to put it. And I would say it's unrealistically so that it's attributed all sorts of things that it's done all over the global economy, that it's causing everything, whereas in fact I suspect when scholars study it, it will have been shown to be rather impotent and not to have done much. But I think that has somehow undermined confidence in the dollar, despite the fact the U.S. is growing. I would say the chances of the yen having problems, looking at their deficits, their tragedy of the earthquake, looking at Europe with it still messing around with its restructurings and bailouts in the periphery, I would have seen more chance for catastrophe from that than from quantitative easing, but evidently that's not how the market feels.
Well, where do you see the biggest catastrophe in the currency market right now?
I mean, I don't think there's a no-brainer at the moment, aside from the fact that the emerging market currencies need to appreciate. They have a high inflation. They have to do something about it. I mean, they can let their currencies go up in value through inflation or through appreciation, and I don't think it makes sense to allow as much inflation as they are.
Ken, I'd love to jump in right now and talk a little bit more about quantitative easing. It seems like we talked about it a lot this week. There's division within the Fed about what should be done. We're hearing from different Fed bank presidents about what should be done. What do you think? Are we ready to take our foot, the Fed specifically, off the gas pedal when it comes to QE?
I think QE was well conceived and a good idea when they did it. But certainly the economy's picked up. The danger of disinflation has really evaporated. And at the same time, there's just this incredible backlash from the rest of the world, from certain quarters in the United States, that I think it made it difficult to do it with the conviction and the clarity that it needs to be done to work. So they're sort of painted into a corner where, they don't want to change anything quickly and they don't want to appear to be backing down. And perhaps they're a little bit nervous that it'll be seen that they're going on a tightening cycle. But, all in all, I think if they could have gone back and undone it, they might have.
Speaking of backlash, there's a lot of anger out there, Ken, about GE paying very low taxes. There's a story today, the top 400 individual earners paid an effective rate of 17%. But is it the case when you talk to your colleagues there that economists are much more concerned looking at the U.S. budget about the spending side than the tax side?
No, I wouldn't say that at all. I mean, I think the tax system is a mess. The wealthy would be paying a lot higher tax, under a flat tax even, than they pay under our current system. And fixing the whole budget system involves, I think, a comprehensive look at our tax system. Of course, the spending side's an issue, but again, the shenanigans about $10 billion here and $20 billion there in this multi-trillion-dollar problem are really just theatrics. The core of the problem is the tax system needs to be fixed. Obviously, the way healthcare was done was not a way that was going to shrink spending, and that needs to be rethought, I think.
Fiscal issues. That was Professor Ken Rogoff of Harvard University, former chief economist of the International Monetary Fund and co-author of This Time is Different from Bretton Woods, the historic Mount Washington Hotel in New Hampshire. Matt and Carol?
All right, Sara and Ken, thanks very much for that. Now